Hello and welcome to week 4. So, everyone should feel proud of themselves because you have finished the first major paper. The first major paper, which was the annotated bibliography, in that paper you all have established your research. So now you know what the specialists, the doctors, and the scientists are saying about your topic. From this point, you're going to use that information and create a position about the information that was presented in your annotated bibliography. So here you're going to essentially establish a position and use the information from your annotated bibliography to help support the position, or in other words, the opinion that you have about an issue related to your topic. This week, I have you all reading a wealth of information from your textbook along with some sample researched argument essays. The first section that I have you reading in the textbook is entitled Arguing a Position. And here you're going to read three magazine articles. And one of the articles deals with the so-called obesity epidemic. The other one deals with internet piracy, and the last one deals with organ sales. Now, I want you to look at these arguments and look at how these authors establish their arguments and what sort of ideas and evidence do they use to back up their position. Always remember in these reading selections in your textbook to read the background information and then read the article and then read the information that summarizes the article at the end of the article. The second part that you will read about is synthesizing your ideas. Now, as I previously stated, in your annotated bibliography, you were analyzing information. So you had a topic and you broke down information related to that topic. Now you're going to take that information and synthesize that information. So you're going to use that information and look at it in a different way, because you're going to look at it all within the context of your position, what you have to say about your topic. So if you feel that, for instance, video gaming or violence in video games does have an effect on the video gamer, then this is the position that you're making. So you're going to find the evidence or use the evidence that either backs up or refutes your point. You're also going to read a section on writing as inquiry. Now, we discussed how inquiry or asking questions is a really good way to get us thinking about the issues that are related to our topic. So for instance, in one of our assignments back in week 2, I told you to write down about 75 to 150 questions to just get you brainstorming about your topic. You can also use that to think about all of the different arguments that might go against your position. Remember, you are the critic, and you are writing this paper based off of your opinion and your position, and you're using the information to back up your opinion and your position. So in this section, they discuss how you can use questioning techniques and strategies to help get an understanding of, again, where all of the different arguments lie in relationship to your topic. The final section that I want you guys to read about in your textbook discusses introductions and conclusions. So how to write effective introductions and conclusions for your papers. And it also goes into a larger discussion on different types of argument. So they discuss the process of argument, for instance, how to refute information. So you can actually use information that goes against what you're saying to help establish your point. They also discuss how to build a common ground between you and your reader, how to use evidence. One of the things that I want you to pay particular attention to in establishing your evidence is to be able to separate between what you're saying and what the author is saying. And what that is called is basically using attributive tags. For instance, author X states the following information, and then, a lot of times that's quoted material. So you want to make sure that you effectively are able to use signal verbs such as author such and such argues, or author such and such contends, author such and such believes, author such and such is trying to establish this idea here. And you want to use those clear attributive tags when you are getting ready to provide the evidence for your discussion. So they're going to talk about that as well in that section. And the most important thing in your research argument is to be able to establish your claim and your reasons, or in other words, your thesis statement, or in other words, your position statement. So again, your position statement is the central statement that you are making about your issue related to your topic. I use the term position statement interchangeably with thesis statement, with your opinion. So the position statement, thesis statement, and your opinion have to have a claim, and that claim has to be supported by reasons. So for instance, if you make the claim that Saginaw Public Schools should enforce a universal uniform program, and where every student wears a uniform to school, that's the claim. And then your reasons are because it will improve test scores, and it will it will increase graduation rates. So your claim is the belief or the statement that you're making about the issue related to your topic, and the reasons are the reasons that you're going to prove to back it up. So they're going to talk about how to establish your claim with reasons. Now, as you're writing your claim with reasons, or your thesis statement, or your position statement, or your opinion, you want to keep in mind that use this to help establish the outline to writing your paper. So for instance, going back to the video game example, if you say that violent video games has a violent or has an effect on the video gamer, and here are all of the reasons why you say that, well, you can establish that or state that explicitly in your introduction, and you've basically got the flow of your paper there. So if you say that violent video games has an effect on the gamer because this researcher at Stanford University did this groundbreaking research on this topic, and I'm going to talk about this first, and then you will talk about another test study, and then that proves that evidence, and then you're going to talk about another research example. You can explicitly say that you're going to use these things to help establish your position, to help give a sense of organization for your paper. So also this week, you're going to have 2 discussion board posts. Now the discussion board post, the first one, you will write a rough draft of your thesis statement. You will talk about your claim and your reason, and you'll have an opportunity to get feedback from me and feedback from your classmates. And then you'll have another discussion board post that deal with the readings. In this week's course activities, I've also included 2 sample researched arguments from 2 past students. Not to say that these are the perfect sample research arguments, but rather this is just my minimum expectations in regards to what I'm looking for with the researched argument essay. So notice how they use their attributive tags. Notice how they have a title, so they have their first, their last name, the date, the name of the assignment along with my name. They have a title. Notice the formatting. Notice how notice their margins. Notice their MLA, their works cited page. Notice how they're using in-text citations. Look at look at the mechanics. Look at clarity. Look at sentence structure. These are the bare minimum requirements that I am looking for in your researched argument essays. So look at those sample researched argument essays to give you a better sense of what I'm looking for. I've also included the researched argument essay assignment sheet. Everything you need to know about this final essay is in the assignment sheet. Everything in regards to the grading, due dates, along with my expectations. I will start accepting the researched argument essays early so that I'll start accepting rough drafts, I should say, about a week and a half before that they're actually due. So you can get some feedback from me on those final papers. So all of that information is discussed in the researched argument essay assignment sheet. The last thing that I included was a transition worksheet. Now, the transition worksheet and I have a long history. I actually received this list of transitions when I was in the ninth grade, and I'm 31 years old now, and I still use it. And basically, it's a list of transitions that you can use to provide a greater sense of coherence, or in other words, flow, so that you can provide a smoother flow of ideas within your sentences, and from paragraph to paragraph. And also with the transition worksheet, they also have a list. There's also a list of coordinating conjunctions, correlative conjunctions, and subordinating conjunctions, so that you can have an understanding of how to use these phrases when you are introducing introductory material, for instance, or being able to identify the difference with coordinating ideas or coordinating dependent and independent clauses. So it's really good to have an understanding of what these, or how these phrases work within your writing. Now, the final thing on that transition worksheet is an 8-column list of other words that you can say instead of say. For instance, you don't want to say that author X says or author X talks about, because the actual article is not talking to you. So this goes back to using attributive tags and the signal verbs within those attributive tags more effectively, so you can be more specific about establishing a difference between your ideas and the author's ideas. So for instance, going back to that transition worksheet, that lists other things that you can say instead of say. Rather than say the author says, you can say the author contends, the author states, the author believes, the author argues, the author establishes, the author disagrees with. Okay, so that transition worksheet is an extremely helpful worksheet that you can use to help improve your composition. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, please post to the the week 4 discussion board questions section. Or if you have a specific question, you can just email me. This week, I will be going over your annotated bibliographies. So look for something probably the end of this week, no later than next Tuesday, in regards to feedback with your annotated bibliographies. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. Happy reading and writing, and I will see you in cyberspace.